Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. 10 out of Jake, man. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. This video right here gonna be about my brother Suge, aka Anthony Gardner. I knew him as Suge when we was inside of prison. He's going by Loyal V now, aka Loyal Vision. And I mean, the Suge that I remember is nothing like who I'm speaking to now. And it's crazy the different way he carries himself now, the difference in his speech, the difference in his mentality. It blows me away. The reason it has such an effect on me is because he's also one of my brothers with the longest amount of time. Suge has a life sentence, and a lot of people are under the impression that guys in prison with the life sentences, you know, the lifers, they're usually the baddest, the most careless. Sometimes that's true. But in this case, you know, let me give y'all the backstory on everything about how I met bro. And you can kind of see what I'm talking about and see how far he's come. Now, I met Suge 2014 at Appalachia CI. I got out of confinement. I got put in the I-dorm, which was the max high custody, whatever. We don't really have max custody, because that's pretty much like death row and shit. But it was the high custody dorm. I got put in the I-4, bunch of bloods in that bit. Suge was in I-2 at the time, so I knew who he was. I heard of him. Eventually, I got to meet him, because we all used to go out to chow together. We all used to go to rec together. When I first hit Appalachia, my first time going to yard and hitting the canteen, you'll see that a lot of times within the Florida prison system, most gangs aren't able to just give you everything when you land somewhere. One of the only groups, and I say group because it isn't specific to a gang, one of the only groups that really do that, they maintain that unity, that structure, that love, that support, is the Chicos, the Hispanics, the Spanish. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the Kings, the 13s, or whatever's in between that shit. If you're Hispanic, when you touch down and you're solid, your people are going to take care of you. You're going to get some clothes. You're going to get some food. You're going to get souped up. Now, if you're a bummy, junkie type, they're going to leave you where you're at. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to bring you up higher than what you represent yourself as. If you represent yourself as a piece of shit, you're going to stay in the toilet. But if you come through and you got a little bit of swag about you, you got some respect about you, and you hold yourself down and take care of yourself, people will put you in position if they know you're walking around looking less than you really are. Especially if you're affiliated. If you're a king, you're going to look like a king. You're not going to be looking like a bum. You're not going to be walking around all fucked up, looking like you're hungry, asking for soups and shit. They're going to take care of you. They're one of the only groups that does that. As far as anything else, you might have a blood that got a lot of money. You might have a GD, a Crip, whatever. But you can't fund your whole gang. You know what I'm saying? So when I went to Appalachia, I hit canteen. The majority of my brothers on that yard wasn't hitting canteen. You see what I'm saying? The majority of them wasn't even getting money. So when I came back to the dorm and I got this big ass bag, I got a couple of brothers that's in I-3. They on the window like, yo, you think you could shoot me a soup? I'm looking at them like, nah, the fuck you talking about? Like, I don't even know you. I just got here. You know what I'm saying? My mentality was, because I'm white, I am going to establish that if I am accepted on this compound as a white blood, I am not feeding no fucking body. Nobody's playing under me. Nobody's playing cool with me. Nothing. I really wasn't even fucking with different sets. I was only trying to fuck with my set, which Suge is a part of. You see what I'm saying? But I wasn't on that friendly shit. If I didn't know you, if I didn't vibe with you, even if you was a blood, I wasn't fucking with you. I'm not going to feed you. You're not my responsibility. I'm not for that, because you will have a lot of people that will play up under people just to get that bag, just to get fed. Look at the Tekashi 6ix9ine situation. How many people played up under him because he was getting that bag? So I let it be known, I'm not feeding no fucking body. And if anyone feels some type of way, handle that. It wasn't like that. Nobody felt any way. Nobody was like, oh, we're going to test this pussy ass cracker. None of that shit, bro. Wasn't none of that finna happen. But still, because of the stigma of whites inside of Florida State Prison, crash dummies, this, that, and the third. I had to let it be known and established that ain't nobody finna fuck with me. You see what I'm saying? You're not playing me. None of that. I'm not going for it. You feel me? So I had my shit and I wouldn't buzz nobody down. I didn't care. Once I got cool with people, I started fucking with people, associating with people. They might bust me down on something first. It is what it is. That's just how prison is, period. You never want to be too friendly with motherfuckers. The second they see you got something, they want it. They're going to see if you're friendly enough to give them something. They're going to ask for more. It's all finesse. It's all bullshit. But now you look at somebody like Bimba. Bimba got put into my cell, and it was straight love. I'm eating, I'm smoking, everything. You know what I mean? He saw I was solid. And then when I hit Canteen, that same shit was returned to him. You busted me down 50-50, I'm gonna bust you down 50-50. When he didn't have it, I did. When I didn't, he did. You see what I'm saying? So I kept that kind of thing going with everybody that I met inside of prison. Now, Suge always stayed in I-2. I was always in I-4. And when we first met, we was cool. There wasn't nothing too crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we're nonstop chilling. We only saw each other going to chow, coming back to the dorm or going to the yard, whatever it was, because we was in the same dorm, but we was in different quads. Now, I told y'all at ACI, eventually 2 Bloods came, and they were the ones that put a green light on my head. They wasn't going for it, whatever. Word got back to me. I confronted the person behind it, and he was acting all friendly. Nah, bro, we ain't say none of that. It was real pussy. Like, you put a hit out, but you ain't want to claim the hit because you don't want to go head up with these knives. He pretty much just wanted to send something as if he was a boss, send somebody to come get me, but he didn't have any crash dummies on the squad. Everybody that was pushing their shit, everyone that was banging, was on that. You know what I mean? These weren't crash dummies, and they also only wanted to go in if it was some important shit. I'm still openly gang banging on the compound, throwing bees up, throwing shine up, whatever. No one's trying to take the hit. At the time, Bimba's people had my back off of something that I did with him. Me and him ran a mission. So I wasn't by myself. I had Bimba, and I had Bimba's following behind me because of the loyalty that I showed to him by putting myself, volunteering myself into a dangerous situation that we were able to overcome. And we overcame that together. And, you know, not to say he couldn't handle himself, but had I not been there, it could have turned out differently. I'm glad that I was there. That really solidified our friendship. You know what I mean? The first half of it. The second half that solidified it was what he did for me. Suge was someone that I was cool with, and that completely flipped around. I could tell by his energy. I could tell by how he was looking. I knew that there was a hit on me. Suge being in I-2, he's one of the closest to me. We're in the same set. If you got a green light and it's on somebody that's on the same set, you really want to get them because they fucked up and they're pushing your shit. I never fucked up, but we was pushing the same shit. So I expected he would be one of the ones that try to get me. You know what I mean? He's going to try to take that hit. And Suge wasn't nothing to get fucked up with. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. He had previously got into it with Bloods before at another compound, a specific set. And Suge actually has 2 long cuts on his neck. They ran up and they hit him with a razor. And he's just got these long slices on his neck. And it's a crazy looking scar, but it just goes to show there's a lot of set tripping within Blood. You know, with that being said, I assumed that somebody would have looked into the hit a little bit further as to why is it being sent out. It's because he's white. But it is what it is, right? I'm not going to argue with it. We're not going to talk about it. I was strapped up. Bimba was strapped up. I know all of them were strapped up. Every time I saw Suge now, when we're, you know, going to the yard, going to chow, we were on point. I could tell he was on point. He could tell I was on point. You know, we had different looks. We had different ways. I could just tell in his energy something was off. You know what I'm saying? I knew he wanted to hit. And for me, it's like, what's the option? Either I strike first, I just wait to see what they're going to do. You know what I mean? Because there's no point in me trying to pick off everyone else. I might as well go and smash the one who sent the hit. He's in a completely different dorm, but if I'm going to wet one of them up, I might as well go straight to the source and stick something in him, and then we'll see what happens with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? But literally just, I forget how many days it was. Everywhere we went, I'm watching him. He's watching me. We're looking at each other, and it's not in the sense of we're grilling each other. But the thing is, if you know you got a problem with somebody or there could be some smoke in the air, you got to watch their movement, and he's watching mine. So we're catching each other, looking at each other because we're watching each other's movements. We're not trying to get... I don't want him behind me. He doesn't want me behind him. If he goes and he turns into a cut, I got to expect him to be there when I turn that corner. So I got to turn that corner smart so I don't get hit in my shit. Vice versa. You can tell when people are moving and everything that they do is calculated. You could feel the animosity. I felt it every time I saw any of the other Bloods. There was a few that wasn't on that shit. There was a few that still was associating with me that was more or less like, look, I'm staying out of it. That's between them and you, whatever, whatever. But we really just, at that point, it was that, you know, it was whoever hits who first, whatever happens, happens. But it was known amongst the whole compound. I had that iron on me. I had it. And I was known from the JIT camp for using it. So, you know, if you come and strike at me, we're going to go iron for iron. You're not just going to get me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to get you too. We're going to go at it on some gladiator shit. If you ain't ready to tighten down like that, you might as well not even come, because you're not just going to buck me and run off. We're going to stab each other. If Bimba's with me, you best believe he going to whack some shit. It is what it is, bro. And knowing that I'm beefing with a motherfucker that got life, I got to move just like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not thinking about cutting you. I'm thinking about hitting him in the neck. I'm thinking about this, that, and the third. And it's not just him specifically, but whoever comes at me. Now, when Goo came, I told y'all Goo was the one that brought me together with my brothers. When I walked into I-2 with Bimba, Goo called a meeting. He said he wanted to meet me. There was 3 Bloods in that cell. I didn't know when I walked into that cell if I was going to lose my life. I didn't know if this was how they were going to do it. You know what I mean? But I knew I had to represent myself and represent what I stand for when I walk inside of that cell. And Bimba was like, you want me to walk in there with you? Nah, bro, I got this. I'm going to walk in. Bimba had his brothers in that dorm too. You know what I mean? So if it shook, I'm sure that his people would have rushed in and it would have became bigger than what it was. But I walked into that cell. I didn't have a knife on me or anything. Inside of that cell was Rambo, was Suge, and was Goo. Me and Rambo was mad close and then we fell out. Me and Suge, we was straight and then we fell out. I felt like I was going at it with both of them, and they were also the 2 closest ones to me. You can ask Pino about Rambo. Rambo don't fuck off. Suge don't fuck off. We talking about hitters. We talking about people that's really striking shit, that's really laying shit the fuck down, that's really about that life. And then there was Goo. This was my first time meeting him. And at the end of the little conversation that we had, I shook hands with Rambo. I shook hands with Suge. Me and Rambo got closer than we were before after that whole ordeal. It's like we beefed for a little bit and then we just became close as fuck, and we still close as fuck to this day. Me and Suge, we were iffy because we were never that cool to begin with. And once it's like, all right, if I know I can beef with you over some petty shit, like we can fall out, then the brotherhood, the friendship, it ain't really based on nothing if it takes something so simple. But that's just how it is, though. If you simply fuck up, if your name is listed as no good, then that's what you got to do to people. And I understood that. I didn't agree with it, though, because my name wasn't fucked up. There was no violation against me. There was nothing against me except the color of my skin. Goo came through and said, y'all ain't never heard of no white bloods. There's white big homies. Where the fuck are y'all from? Where y'all, who y'all big homie? Who the fuck told you that? You see what I'm saying? And Goo kind of changed everybody's minds up and told them, like, nah, there's white bloods. And Goo took over that compound. You see what I'm saying? So everybody that didn't know better went with who they thought knew better, which was the one that sent the hit. When Goo came and the other two motherfuckers went PC because the green light got put on them, they turned straight pussy, then everybody fell up under Goo and was listening to Goo. Me and Suge, I mean, we was cool. We was cool the same way we was before the incident. We vibed out on the yard. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, whatever. And then another situation occurred. Kid, the same white GD that I did a video on, the 974 Insane Gangster Disciple, the same one that lent me the knife. This is what's crazy about this story. When I was beefing with my own people, Kid lent me that big ass fucking knife that he had named Demon. So I could go confront somebody the next day when I went to school. Bimba couldn't go with me. So I walked up with that big ass knife. We talked. Come to find out his information was Dub. And that was the end of that story. And that person was actually another one of my brothers named Hollywood. Me and Hollywood had a conversation with each other. I almost stabbed him. And Hollywood ain't pussy or nothing like that. But we actually spoke after the fact. Hollywood didn't have a knife on him at the time. You know what I mean? And Hollywood was actually known for $150 and the shit out of someone else on the compound that used to be Blood. But me and Hollywood got mad cool. He just heard the wrong shit. And like he's supposed to, he went to go eliminate whatever had a green light on their head. But once we actually spoke, he was like, bro, this shit don't sound right. Because everything that I said was correct and everything the other dude said was iffy. So that situation deaded itself. Nobody got stabbed. Now, our brothers, you know, got into it with the GDs in another dorm, and supposedly that situation had died out. But I felt like Kid and another GD that was in the dorm named Scooby. And shout out to Scooby, man. Scooby from Tampa. He was an older black dude. I think he was like in his early 30s when I met him. And he was solid, bro. A lot of the GDs was on that gay shit. He wasn't on that shit. He didn't play around with that shit. He was real deal banging that 7-4 and he was holding his shit down. So much respect to him. Rambo actually hit me up not too long ago and told me Scooby said, what's up? They're at the same camp right now. So, you know, big shout out to him. Free bro. But I thought Kid and Scooby was looking funny. I thought they was looking at me funny. You know what I mean? What ended up happening is when we went to chow, you know, I had a knife on me. I always had a knife on me. And I was sitting at my table eating, and I guess I had a look on my face. You know, I kept looking back in the line. I'm looking at Kid and Scooby, just peeping what they doing. More or less, Suge walks up to me. He's like, yo, bro, what's up? You straight? I'm like, what's up? What's going on? I'm like, I don't know. These GDs, they just looking funny. Like something just giving me a funny vibe. He said, oh, yeah, we gonna view what that be by. So him and like 3 other homies, they slid back to our dorm before me. So when we go to chow, it'll be like I-1 and I-2 and then I-3 and I-4. So he was 1 and 2, so they went back first. So when I finished my food, I put my tray up, whatever, I made my way back to I-4. I'm with Rambo at the time. We get inside of the door. We're in the salad port with the bars. The bars pop. We walk up to I-4. I got to wait until they open the electronic door to let me in, right? But I see Suge and them on the other side of the door in I-4. Like they snuck into I-4 and now they got to sneak back out to get into I-2. So I'm like, what the fuck y'all doing in my quad? So Suge's just like, yeah. And then the other homie that's with him, he's like, yeah, bitch. So I'm like, damn, what y'all did? So the door popped. Suge walk up and just, first quarter, he piecing me up. Mad aggressive, like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? He just breathing heavy and shit. I'm like, what's up? He's like, man, we just ran down on them boys. They ain't want no smoke. They ain't want no pressure. I'm like, who y'all talking about? He's like, the GDs. So I'm like, oh, y'all ran down on the GDs. He's like, man, we ran down on that bit. What's up? You got pressure? Y'all straight? And he basically just told me them boys was like, man, what? We don't want none of that. Like, what the fuck is y'all talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to say they was pussy, but they didn't understand the confrontation. So immediately, Kid calls to me when I walk in. Me, Kid, Scooby, and Rambo walked into Rambo's cell. Rambo was the 5th cell on the 2nd tier, which means he was the last corner room, completely off camera. So if anything finna pop, it's gonna pop in this cell, and we're pretty much good. We're not crashing. The cameras can't see it. We're so far away that COs aren't gonna hear it, whatever, if we gotta tear it down, you know what I mean? We walk in there, first quarter, Kid's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck happened? Why are you sending your brothers to run down on us? Like, bro, what's up? And I'm just like, man, bro, y'all looking funny, bro. Like, I peeped how you were looking at me in the line and shit. And immediately he's like, well, I'm looking funny. Like, come on, bro. You know I fuck with you. I lent you my knife. I gave you my knife. That's a violation in my nation. I'm not supposed to do that for you. I looked out for you. Scooby didn't even know that he gave me the knife until he just said it. You see what I'm saying? So Scooby's face was like, he was surprised by that. You know what I mean? But he was just like, man, you know I fuck with you, duh. And Scooby started talking. He's like, yo, real shit, bro. Like, if it's pressure, like, we can bump. Like, we can get a friendly fade or whatever we need to. Because, you know, he from Tampa. Tampa fuck with Tampa. Even though he a GD, and GDs don't really associate with Tampa. Like, if you from Tampa but you GD, you kind of just, you know, violated your Tampa card. You know what I mean? You pretty much just GD now. But bro was still from Tampa. He was still cool people. He was like, if we got a friendly fade, da-da-da. The whole thing was, when you bump somebody that's in another gang, if you got a homie with you and he got a homie with him, y'all homies is finna bump. And the issue with that is Kid fucks boys. I'm not gonna fight Kid. Rambo isn't gonna fight Kid. If we get into it with Kid, we have to stab him. So there's really no friendly fading because it's gonna turn into knife play because we're gonna assume he's sick. If you're gay in prison, everyone's going to assume you got AIDS. Because all the little punks that's walking around, they're sick as shit. You see them go up in the morning line. They got to take that big ass pill. It's nasty. You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to assume that you're sick and we're going to stab you if need be. But you know, the situation deaded and they basically just told me like it wasn't no pressure. It wasn't no smoke. But I really liked the fact that Suge was like, what, you got an issue? I bet, and slid on them boys first quarter. I didn't have to tell him to. I didn't have to nothing. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of the homies that was on that compound, you know, a few of them told me. Some of them didn't. But I got a lot of respect off of the fact that when all of them was against me, I wasn't finna fold for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I still held mine down. And I was still busting missions and doing shit and getting into it with other people. You know what I'm saying? But it felt good to have somebody on that loyal shit. Like, oh, you fucking with my dog? I'm just going to slide. You know what I'm saying? You swing, I hit him. That's that loyalty. You know what I'm saying? And bro's new alias right now, bro going by Loyal V, Loyal Vision. And loyal just fit him. Because he's loyal to his cause. He's loyal to his people. We went against each other off the fact that he's loyal to his cause. And his cause was telling him that I was no good. But he got misinformation. Once that shit was resolved and figured out, he was loyal to me as I was loyal to him. Now, we recently got back in contact. Y'all saw the video on my Instagram. It's amazing to see how much he's changed. How much time he's taken to focus on himself. You know, I remember after that whole incident where he ran down on Kid and Scooby, it was just, he had left and went to court. He went to court and, you know, in Florida, people don't really like to say they got life. What they do is they'll be like, I'm fucked up. You know, somebody will ask you, what's your time like? Like, you fucked up, you straight, you going home. Yeah, bro, I'm going home. I only got 3. You know, how much time you got? Oh, I'm fucked up. You know what I'm saying? You know, that means they're in a fucked up predicament. And Suge went back to court, and we was all hoping good news would come back. And bro came back, and he just had one of the most demonic energies about him. Like, it was just nothing but rage and aggression. And he was at a point where he just wanted to kill something. Like, he wanted a reason to be able to unleash that shit, because he went to court on an appeal and it was denied. You know what I'm saying? They didn't want to hear nothing. And for somebody that their release date says 9/9/99, you know, that weighs heavy on you. We could see it on him. We could see it on his face. He came back and his whole expression was just ready to kill something. And any little thing that started, like if one of our brothers got into it with someone else over a gambling debt, Suge just wanted to annihilate them. Well, fuck it, we're going to war. Tell all of them to strap up. Like, he was just ready to hit something and somewhat throw his life away. You know what I mean? Because when you still have that fighting chance to go home and you're denied, it hurts. But when you catch another body inside a prison and it's solidified you're never going home, I feel like people do that to themselves just so they don't ever feel the pain of denial again. As sad as it is to say, you know what I mean? Just to know I'll never get denied again. I have to accept that I'm going to die in here. I'm just going to kill somebody. And it amazed me, the messages he sent me on JPay. It amazed me just to see that his spirit is yet to be broken. How he's just able to better himself and maintain such high hopes. And it's not even that he's talking about just getting out. He's talking about business plans. He's talking about a career. He's talking about a future. You can tell his mind is not on prison. Rehabilitation in Florida does not exist. Self-rehabilitation is the only way you will find rehabilitation. There is nothing in the Department of Corrections that they do to assist in your rehabilitation. They do nothing to help you adjust to society, teach you how to live in society. When you look up these prisons, they got all these programs, automotive, all this extra shit. All that shit shut down. We couldn't do nothing at Sumter. We didn't have any extracurricular activity. Lancaster, all that shit was shut down. It wasn't letting anybody do anything. It's amazing to me to see, bro, to talk to him, to hear how far he's come. You know what I mean? And I wanted to reach out to him just off the fact that even though me and him, we might not have been the closest, we was beefing at one point, we were iffy about each other, I'm in a position that I can help him, and I looked up his case. Him and 3 other kids ran into a store. The store got robbed. I believe there was a gun, but I didn't read anything on it saying anybody had a firearm. In Florida, you can be charged with a gun just for faking like you had a gun. You know what I mean? And they ran out of the store with money, scratch tickets, and cigarettes. They got into the getaway car. They drove off. Suge got a life sentence. His other co-defendant, Reggie, and big shout out to Reggie. I was actually in the YOs with Reggie. Reggie got 10 years. Their third co-defendant got 9. I believe it was the third co-defendant he told on the case. And it's ugly, bro. But I don't really know the details of his case. I don't know if he went to trial, and that's why he got a life sentence versus Reggie pled out to 10. But that's just something that I disagree with. The fact that you can get a life sentence when nobody died in your crime. But I was present at Appalachia CI, and so was he, when somebody got stabbed in the neck in front of the COs, in front of classification, in front of the nurses, in front of all the inmates. Dude walked up, stabbed him in the neck in front of everybody, but he died. The guy that killed him in front of everyone, He pled no contest. He wasn't saying he was guilty, wasn't saying he was innocent. He was only given 20 years to run concurrent with his sentence. How does he get 20 years for a murder and he gets life for scratch tickets, money, and cigarettes? It doesn't make sense to me. Another thing that I don't agree with is that my crime, one of the crimes I was convicted on, an armed burglary, I was offered 4 years at first. The offer at pretrial was 3 years, a 36-month sentence. That's the plea deal that I accepted. I was facing life. There's no fucking reason that if I can get 3 years, I should be able to also get life. That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. If I'm facing life, I shouldn't be offered 3 years. And if I'm being offered 3 years, my max should not be life. I shouldn't be punished for going to trial with a life sentence when I could have got 3. That doesn't make sense to me. People are just getting punished for no fucking reason. You got a lot of kids that don't know shit. My public defender didn't help me at all about anything, and we barely had any communication. I was told if I go to trial, I'm facing 15 minimum, life maximum. And all I did was 3 years, but that's what it could have turned out to be. And I believe his case is similar to that. He could have got 9, he could have got 10. Man got a life sentence. It's ridiculous, but it's reality. And I'm going to continue to post the videos that I get from him just to uplift and inspire. You know what I mean? I'm inspired by his positivity because at times in this free world, I can find myself in a negative space. And I have to remind myself, there are people like Anthony Gardner inside of prison right now with a life sentence who's more positive and more uplifted than me right now in this free world. I need to match that energy. I need to hold my brothers down, uplift my people. And hopefully one day, Anthony Gardner can see the other side of the fence. We can get rid of this life sentence. We can do something about these laws in the state of Florida that's just throwing people away and leaving them to die inside of prison, especially somebody that takes the time to rehabilitate themselves, because you have people being released out of prison ready to go back because they didn't go through enough shit or they didn't give a fuck. They're going to go out with that same mentality they went in with. They might have got worse in prison and now they're going to come out and crash out. You don't know what it is. But for somebody like him, it ain't right. But that's the reality we got to deal with. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all and y'all rocking with me. Till next time.
Yeah, bro. I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity, you know. It's still good people in prison now. What we're going to do when I get out there, we're going to make a whole change in the world, man. We're going to build our brothers and sisters up instead of destroying them now, man. I go by Lawyer V, man. We got a whole brand new podcast talk show coming soon to the world when I get out. We got a brand new social media that's going to take networking to a whole nother level when I get out. It's time to love and give peace to the world. Anthony Gardner, P39227. Get in contact.